Hello everyone, welcome to another ranking video. Today I'm ranking the Grateful Dead's studio albums only. I will not be including any of the live albums. Obviously Grateful Dead's known as one of the greatest live bands of all time. Their live discography is legendary. I'm sure they have hundreds of live albums. I don't own them all. I own a few of the main ones, like Live Dead, Europe 72, which is one of my favorite live albums of all time. But I'm just ranking the studio albums of the Grateful Dead. Now, I'm a Grateful Dead fan. Am I the biggest fan? No, I'm not really into, the whole, jammy Grateful Dead stuff. I'm a bigger fan of the studio albums. That being said, I wouldn't call myself a Deadhead. I'm not as big a fan as, a lot of people out there. They're one of the most legendary bands of all time, and rightfully so. So I'm just going to be ranking the studio albums, and again, this is just my opinion. No one else's, opinion. I'm not saying I'm ranking is right. It's not wrong. It's my opinion. And again, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Grateful Dead. I'm a big fan, but not huge. So I don't know every little detail as a lot of other people do. So if you're looking for more details in this video, you probably won't find it. And again, the Dead only released 13 studio albums in their career as the Grateful Dead, a whole band. Not including the solo albums by Jerry Garcia, Phil Lesh, Bob Weir, Mickey Hart, none of them guys. So basically, the Grateful Dead were only around for about 30 years, from 65 until Jerry Garcia's death in 1995. Their debut album came out in 1967, even though they started in 65. And, they had a huge resurgence in the early 90s and late 80s thanks to the Touch of Grey video. But, like I said, I'm just going to give you a real, quick run through of my favorite Grateful Dead albums and how I would rank them. Okay, coming in last, the final studio album by Grateful Dead. This is Built to Last. Sorry about the glare there. Built to Last came out in '89. Foolish Heart's a cool song. Just Little Lights, definitely a good follow-up to the opening track. Picasso Moon, I Will Take You Home. But the rest of it, to this day, as many times as I listen to it, it's kind of tough for me to get through, and not the greatest Grateful Dead album, which is why I put it last. But then again, these guys did not really make bad music, so it's still a decent album. Coming in next, from 1980, this is, Go to Heaven. Be quite some time before the Dead would release a studio album again, actually 7 years after this. Of course, they did a lot of live stuff in between throughout the 80s. Jerry Garcia did a lot of solo stuff with the Jerry Garcia band also. A couple cool songs on here. Alabama Getaway, the opener, is really cool. Althea is definitely decent. But my favorite track on here is the closer. It's actually a cover song, Don't Ease Me In. And it kind of became like a Dead staple. But I don't know, I just don't even like the album cover. I just think it's kind of weird. With them all in the white, in the white suits, it just doesn't seem like a Grateful Dead album cover. Alright, now the rest of these were really tough to rank. So the next one, again, it's my opinion. I find other albums personally better, to my ears, than this. But it was kind of hard to rank Wake of the Flood this high. Opens up Mississippi Half Step, Uptown Toodaloo, which is great. Let Me Sing Your Blues Away, Road Jimmy, Stella Blue, Here Comes Sunshine, Eyes of the World, my favorite track off of this, and ends with the over 12-minute Weather Report suite, mostly written by Bob Weir. Again, I think it's starting to become a little iconic now, but I think a little odd for a Grateful Dead cover. The cover of this one. This was released in '73, I believe. 73. Next up, this is actually one of my favorite Dead albums, In the Dark. I don't know, it just gets a lot of hate, especially Touch of Grey. But I think the song's great. I mean, I've been listening to it since I was a kid, and to me, it never got old. All the tracks on here, there's only 7 of them. I think they're all amazing. I love it. This came in 1987, and the Dead had a huge resurgence after this album. Again, kind of a weird cover, but it's cool. I think it's become iconic now because this was such a big album, such a huge seller, and kind of always liked looking at the faces of the eyes and wondering who's who. But as I was saying, Touch of Grey opens it up. I think that was their biggest single of all time. The video is really cool. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. Of course, it's got the 80s graphics, so it's not the greatest technically, but I like it. Hell in a Bucket, Push Comes to Shove, West LA Fadeaway, just this really cool, you know, slow, bluesy Garcia, you know, really groovy song. Tons of Steel featuring Brett Midland's vocals, amazing. I think he's a great singer. Unfortunately, he passed away. Another one, hard to rank this hard, or hard to rank this so high, sorry. Blues for Allah. Another cool cover, another iconic cover. Help Is on the Way into Slipknot. A lot of like medleys they released in the 70s. No, not the band Slipknot. Franklin's Tower is probably the big song off of here. Kind of a minor hit for them. King Solomon's Marbles, that was split into 2 parts. Music Never Stopped is my favorite track off of this. Yeah, and then it ends with another kind of medley called Blues for Allah, which is the title track. Sandcastles and Glass Camels, and it ends with Unusual Occurrences in the Desert. Again, just want to reiterate, I'm not the biggest Dead fan. I don't know every other detail like a lot of people do, but I do like old studio albums. And I'm probably one of the very few people that could say they like the studio albums of the Grateful Dead better than live albums. Next up, Grateful Dead. This is from the Mars Hotel. I don't know, I just really like this song. It's one of the first Dead CDs I really get into because of Scarlet Begonias. Obviously, I grew up with Sublime, and I knew the Sublime cover. And when I found out the Grateful Dead did it, I went back, and at first I thought this was a live album because it literally says from the Mars Hotel. Obviously, the Mars Hotel isn't a real place, but it could definitely sound like a live album. This is the remastered version, Rhino remastered from 2004. I know they remastered the 60s albums, and then a couple years later did the 70s albums. The only 70 albums I own remastered. United States Blues, such an awesome song that opens up the Grateful Dead movie, which I always think of. Loose Lucy, great song, I love that. He never said it, but definitely inspired a Prince lyric later on Purple Rain. Scarlet Begonias, which I already said. Private Cucamonga's great, and ends with Ship of Fools, which is just a slow, cool song. And this one's pretty cool because it has a lot of bonus material, an outtake of Loose Lucy, a live version of Scarlet Begonias. The rest are all live stuff, studio acoustic demos. The remastered Dead stuff, especially the 70s stuff, is pretty hard to get right now. But if you ever do see it and get your hands on it, I suggest grab it because the bonus material is really cool. Plus, you got a booklet in there, and it's expanded. Disc looks a lot cooler than just them plain old silver disc they released. Next up, this is from 1978, Shakedown Street. Opens up with a cover of the Rascals' Good Lovin'. The title track, Shakedown Street, such a cool song, very groovy. Definitely see you dance to it, all you Deadheads. Fire on the Mountain, one of my favorite tracks by the Dead of the 70s. Staggered Leaves, really cool. All new Minglewood Blues. And I don't know, this stuff's just really cool. Really cool cover, I always liked it. Kind of reminds me of those, like, Seek and Finds, or like a Where's Waldo thing, even though it's not as crowded, but I don't know, this reminds me of that. Next up, probably the most iconic cover of the 70s. Terrapin Station. Only 6 tracks. This was released in 77. Obviously right before Shakedown Street. Estimated Profit. Such a cool song. I love that. It's probably my favorite off of here. And Samson Delilah is great. And another one is the, I believe it was the whole second side of the vinyl. Terrapin Station Part 1. It has 7 tracks altogether in it. Another medley. And also features a cover of Dancing in the Streets. Next up, this one's kind of hard to pronounce. This is from 1969. Oxymoxa. Oxymoxa. For some reason, I'm just realizing now that there's a wrong copyright date of 1971 on this, and obviously it's not for the CD because there was no CDs in 1971. This was definitely a big album for the band. Such cool cover art again, especially for the psychedelic days. Opens up with Saint Stephen, one of their most famous songs. Dupree, Diamond Blues. Rosemary, which is just a really cool, beautiful psychedelic song sang by Jerry. Doing That Rag. It's And it's got that folky, almost country sound to it a little bit. Mountains of the Moon, China Cat Sunflower, great song, but I prefer the live version on Europe 72. What's Becoming the Baby is definitely a weird avant-garde, really tripped out song. Clocks in over 8 minutes. Sometimes I skip it, or kind of zone out and don't pay attention during it. It's just a little too long for me. I feel like the album could have did without it. And then it closes with Cosmic Trolley, which is a pretty cool track. Next up, the debut album, self-titled, Grateful Dead. This is a little different than everything else the band released. I believe they kind of shortened their songs to get the record contract and to get it pressed on vinyl. But this is the remastered version from the 60s, which I was saying. This is a 2003 remaster, yeah. So these are HD CDs released by Rhino. So the 70s came a year later. The 70s remasters. But yeah, this is just short, poppy, 60s psychedelic stuff, kind of really. The Golden Roads from Love and Devotion. Beat On Down the Line. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl. Really cool blues cover there. But this features the full-length version, which wasn't released on the regular vinyl. The regular vinyl was like probably clocked in under 3 minutes. Cold Rain and Snow, Sitting on Top of the World, another cover version. Cream would make a little more famous. Cream Puff War, which was another full-length version, and then Morning Dew, full-length version, also features New Binglewood Blues and Viola Lee Blues. 6 unreleased tracks, till now, obviously. But yeah, I really do like this. They got really cool pictures, and then the CD kind of looks like the the paper that was on the vinyl. I don't know, I just feel like this cover art isn't as popular as you think it would be, being as the Grateful Dead's first album. But yeah, really cool stuff, and a lot of this stuff they would play live later on, which I think the live versions are better than the studio versions on this. Next up, their sophomore album, released in 1968. This is Anthem of the Sun. This is where the band definitely comes into being the Grateful Dead. Some of this was recorded live. The first song, That's It for the Other One, and the Crypto Envelopment, Quadrillabit for Tender Feet, The Faster We Go, The Rounder We Get, We Leave the Castle. Really, really cool stuff. Again, another medley featuring 3 tracks in one. Then it goes to New Potato Caboose, Born Cross-Eyed, Alligator, and then Caution, Do Not Step on the Tracks. And yeah, at the time, to feature only 5 tracks by a big band was a little rare, especially a band like this, psychedelic. But I know the one thing about this is, so this actually features an 18-minute version of Alligator and an 11-minute version of Caution, Do Not Step on the Tracks as bonus tracks. And again, the cool artwork. Alright, now we're getting down to the final 2. Sure you narrowed it down if you know the Grateful Dead. Even if you're not that familiar with them, you kind of know these albums, at least this next one. This might be controversial, but again, this is my opinion. Coming at number 2 for me is American Beauty. A lot of people say this is the Dead's greatest album, probably the most popular album. Opens up a Box of Rain. Such an amazing song. I always loved that song. And The Friend of the Devil, another great cool acoustic track sung by Jerry. Sugar Magnolia, which was a hit. Operator, Candyman, Ripple, Broke Down Palace, Till the Morning Comes, Addicts of My Life, and probably their most famous song, Truckin'. Yeah, this is just a really, really cool CD. Yeah, I can't really say anything about it that hasn't been said already. It was released in 1970, so a lot of the 60s psychedelic bands were kind of losing their fire by the end of the 60s and the 1970s, but the Dead were just beginning, even though they released 3 or 4 amazing albums before this. This was their big one. This is the biggest album for them. All right, coming in at number 1 for me, Working Man's Dead. Just some cool stuff. I love the harmonies on here. I love the acoustic. I love the country folk psychedelia influence they use. Uncle John's Band, one of my favorite Grateful Dead songs of all time. High Time, Dire Wolf, New Speedway Boogie, Cumberland Blues, which I prefer the live version of, Black Peter, Easy Win, and it ends with Casey Jones. Such a cool, popular song for the band. I know Casey Jones is popular now due to lyrical content of, Cocaine. I don't know how big it was back then. I just never really researched that. But yeah, Working Man's Dead, such a cool album. Recently this past summer I was sitting on the beach looking at the Atlantic Ocean, and I was just playing this album and just like relaxing, and just such cool stuff, and it always makes me want to pick up my acoustic guitar and just, you know, make music. So yeah, I'm gonna do a quick recap of my album's ranking. Again, I'm not the biggest Grateful Dead fan, but I am a big Grateful Dead fan, so I don't know all the technicalities of all the albums. I just enjoy the music. Number 1, Working Man's Dead. Number 2, American Beauty. Number 3, Anthem of the Sun. Number 4, Grateful Dead, self-titled album. Oxymoxa coming in at number 5. Oxymoxa and the first album may switch from here to there for me. Number 6, Terrapin Station. Number 7, Shakedown Street. Number 8, From the Mars Hotel. Number 9, Booze for Allah. Number 10, In the Dark. Number 11, Wake of the Flood. Number 12, Go to Heaven. And coming at number 13, their final studio album, Built to Last. Everyone, thanks for watching. I don't own a lot of the studio albums, or I'm sorry, live albums of Grateful Dead. I actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 6 of them, so I'm not gonna be ranking the studio albums just because I don't own enough. But thanks for watching. If you like the content, I also post a lot of my collection on Instagram right here at Gary of the Elysiums. Also, please subscribe so I can make more videos, and pretty soon I think I want to do a giveaway to all my subscribers. So please subscribe, and again, feel free to leave your ranking in the comments. And just one last time, this is my opinion. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm a genius on the Grateful Dead's history. Just ranking the studio albums as I see it. Thanks for watching. Everyone stay safe.